And we are live. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me for this discussion about Death of a Unicorn. And thank you, Dlord, for watching Opus as well. That will be the topic at the very end of the stream. How are
Then
you, Pupkin? Pupkin, are you still with us? I guess she's not with us anymore. Dlord, how are you today?
I am good. Yes,
Amazing.
the other. Yes, as I said, you have two films. One that's halfway a decent suspense, like cult thriller. Then you picked one, which is the equivalent to. It reminds me why I sometimes dislike the sci-fi movies, the Sci-Fi Channel level of movies, where actually what happens. Because then again, that's a me thing. I could see why someone can enjoy it, but it's still very much the sci-fi movie where the zoologist monster goes wild, which that's Death of a Unicorn, and I mean I don't mind it. It's entertaining,
And
but
now that's the spoiler warning because we will spoil the entire death of a unicorn. So I will let Cinnamon Pumpkin, if she's
okay.
back,
yes,
start on that one. Perfect, perfect. So what did you think of Death of a Unicorn?
it was very bloody. And
That's a understatement, but I like that.
uh, yeah, no, I liked it. It was definitely sort of like technology versus nature type movie, which we've had for a while, but this one was extremely bloody. And I think they really, because unicorns are so much seen as like this little girl, cute little thing, they really wanted to go against that. And it's true that in like they talk about how it used to be seen in like medieval times as sort of like powerful animal, dangerous, that could kill and stuff because everything was like that in Middle Ages. So they talked a lot about the tapestry with the unicorn, which are real tapestries, which I thought it was both kind of cute that the girl who studies arts history knew about it because of art history, but she also didn't. So I don't know if she's like a bad student or something, but like you should know that class one, in my opinion. But I guess you needed an introduction to it, so or maybe like it is American, so maybe they don't. I'm pretty sure
I
it's a French piece, so maybe they don't watch about French
I
tapestry.
suspect she was more of a political student than art student. I
They
think.
said many times art student, art
Oh, yeah.
history student.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. I missed that while watching.
Fish cool. I mean, it's part of it. Like it's part of the whole package, I guess. But yeah, and every time they mention art, all the like scientific family, like the rich guys, they all went like, "Ugh." That was funny. And it was also definitely a thing about sort of like, you want to get closer to like the rich family because they can get you stuff, but like you'll never count for them. Like when the chips goes down, you're gonna go out first. They're not gonna sacrifice one of theirs, and they're not gonna like you're all disposable to them.
That's
And
very interesting. I had something similar in my notes. I
mm,
like hearing that.
yeah, and I really like the scene with because it's like the dad wants to get close to this rich family, and uh, when they find the unicorn, and it's true that unicorn were believed to give immortality. That was true about the legends. And so, since they're a pharmaceutical family, they want to exploit that. And they have like a drink with the lawyer dad, and everyone gets a drink. And when he gets the bottle, it's empty. So he just sort of pretends to drink. So they didn't even think about leaving enough for the one who brought the unicorn. So I think that's very telling. It was a nice little scene to illustrate the whole thing. So it was like, on one level, it was a very gore fest action horror movie with like eating guts and stuff, and on the other one, there was definitely sort of a like satirical on society and stuff. So very very on brand for our current cinema.
And I feel like a lot of A24 movies are like that, and that's probably my favorite thing about A24 movies. They criticize aspect of society and they take some risk that other studios don't really. And the more I think about it, the more I remember why I like so much A Different Man from last year that was also made by A24.
Hmm.
They were critiquing, they were criticizing, they were blasting people that got hired uh, just because they had condition, or they would mock the idea that uh, we had token uh, role, if we can call it that way. But that's very hard for me to expand better. But they would criticize Hollywood for being like hypocrite, for pretending to care about people in minority, because look, I hired them but I don't really care about them. And that was the bottom line. So I feel like A24 movies in general are really good at critiquing stuff. um so I guess do you
Yeah,
want to do you want to add something?
yeah. I just remembered there was like because so at first they think they can commercialize the unicorn blood for everything, like for make a fortune with like a wild spread of it. But then they realize that it can only come from the unicorn; they can't replicate it, so it will be extremely rare. So of course they decide to sell it to only very very rich people that will pay a high price for it. And then like the mother was like responsible for like the image of the company, and so the whole time she was sort of like playing this like we're the good guys in this. And so like she says no, but it's gonna go to good people, people like us, and like that just means rich. That's not. So yeah, should we talk about the ending, because I do have questions about that.
Go for it. Yeah, since we are there. What would be your question about the ending?
I mean, do they die or not? What was up with that?
I think they do.
But they like,
That's sad, but they do die.
but why did they bring him back to life? It was just to kill him after.
No witness.
I don't know. I don't know. And then he was even like, he looked happy about it. He was like, okay, I get it. We die now. That's cool.
That's A24 for you.
I
Tragic
guess.
ending. Um.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. D-Lord, what did you think of the death of a unicorn?
It reminds me why I kind of like and dislike the B movies level from Sci-Fi Channel, but also why I hate them. Like it's like and dislike ratio to it. The problem is okay, mystical unicorn. Unicorns have a mystical property, right? The idea they have healing stuff, soft for their horns, anyone who knows medieval history kind of knows why they're important or symbology. They heal, they resurrect the dead, depending on the lore. Scientists suddenly find it, want to use it, goes foul when parents go looking for it. Okay. Apparently, they're motor hobo sprees. It remind me of. I should introduce Multi to the film of the Blood and Honey series.
Oh my.
What?
That these movies are terrible. They
You
shouldn't
do
exist.
know
I've seen them
there's
all.
a.
Okay,
Do you
they're
know
trash.
do know there's going to be an entire Grimm fairy tales version of that universe? Yes, they're working on Peter Pan.
Are you kidding me?
They're
Oh
working
my.
on Bambi as well. So have fun. But especially, and then you go through, right? You go through the film. the parents are just murdering the people, and then there's the mystical side. Oh, because the one took pity, because the parents want revenge because they thought they killed the child. Okay, I understand. And then she has to come to grips with the mother passing. And I guess the horn is instead of being that, is like a trip to a mystical dimension, which is kind of like
It's like seeing the universe.
what is it? No, I was gonna say it's like the moment in Annihilation when you go into the veil area. Didn't see that one, did you? Either of you?
I didn't.
Good, weird film. It's based on a weird book where, long story short, it's something happens on the planet, creates a different area affected by a different dimension, and there's like 100-eyed mutated animals. And one of the key things they left from out of the book or in the film, right? They have the weird deer. It's like 100-eyed deer or bear. Yeah, it's have fun. But the ending itself is the unicorn, to save the people, hits the parents, hit the cop car taking them off to jail. That's going to be yeah. So you have a little bit of the weird thing. Overall, it's an entertaining film. It's just weird. Just monster movie to me. So I can see.
I think it's fine to have weird movies. We need more of these. Any other thoughts on Death of a Unicorn?
That's all.
That's all? Okay, well, I guess that's my go, and I will repeat some of what Cinamon Pumpkin said. So, here are the notes I had. All about rich exploiting others and pretending it was their idea. That was kind of funny. I like that. Now I only had one issue with the entire movie, and that's funny because some people will roast me for that. But that's a big plot convenience. The father and daughter bumping into the unicorn in the middle of nowhere. Right place, right moment, right person. All feels way too convenient, but we need that because they need to delete that unicorn to remain YouTube friendly. But I don't know, they should have thought a bit more about how they bump into it, because that just feels convenient. But that's my only issue with that movie. I really had a blast. That was a very funny movie.
Could I
Uh,
ask you, how
yeah.
would you have done it then? What would be a more convenient way for them to stumble upon a unicorn, bump into her, and bring it to the movie?
Maybe they should. That would affect pacing for sure, but that would be less convenient. Maybe they should showcase that. Look, there are unicorn running wild in that forest or in that area, and that would be more organic. That would be better written, I think, if we kind of knew they were around. Because
But the
now it's
thing,
just like, oh, she just happens to be on that road. So why would she be on that road at that moment?
I do get what you mean, but the thing is that if you introduce it to the universe to the get go, then it's not our universe. It would be where like the film opens in a universe where unicorns are a thing, and so we will disconnect and not think about it. Because this movie, the whole point is that what happens if you drive by and then you hit a unicorn? What do you do? What would you do in that situation? What would happen? As if you introduce the unicorns, then we're in a fantasy land, and the dichotomy of it completely disappears. Like the scene where everyone's like, "Oh, it must be a horse with some I don't know, some tumor on its head," because nobody wants to like
Admit it's a
accept it's a
unicorn, yeah.
unicorn.
Yeah.
So that's the problem of it was like it's the problem of the whole movie. Like, do you introduce unicorns and lose um the whole immersion of the movie, or do you not introduce a unicorn and then your start of the movie is a bit clunky? There was a choice to make. They made a choice. Was it the right one? I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me. Okay, it reminds me of a film. I'll say it. You guys won't know what it is because it's probably very old. It was called Rudolph.
I
It's
don't know
where
that,
I think it
but
was called Rudolph. Okay, so what happens? A family hits either a reindeer or a big deer. Turns out it's one of Santa's deer.
reindeer, yeah.
And it's in a live action, but it doesn't go on a murder spree. They nurse it back to health instead of killing it. And then Santa rewards them. It's the rule of you have to either A, establish why there is a mysticism. Like, I don't think people realize it. It's kind of like, think in our world, you hear reports of Bigfoot all over. You would
Yeah,
think if there's a bunch of Bigfoot or this X creature, people would have seen it. Oh, you just randomly find them in small areas.
yeah. I
So, yeah,
I I gotta say, like, what they could do is let the viewer know unicorn exists before they bump into her and say they are in that area, but the people in the universe don't necessarily need to know. So we have the shocking moment that you explain, oh, what do you do if you eat a unicorn or something? I think that would have been better than what we got.
Yeah,
But
I could settle with that. That would be an interesting way.
that, like, the viewer sees that unicorn and they're like, okay, they are in that area, so they would cross roads sometimes. Or what they could do is they could crack a joke about, um for for example, previous weeks or in the past someone ate a unicorn, and they would crack a joke at it saying, "Oh yeah, like it is. They probably eat some wild animal, and they are stupid enough to think it's a unicorn, so they wouldn't believe it when they would do it themselves and eat it themselves." That could be another way to say, "Oh, that kind of things happen, and it's not just them just happening to experience that because the movie needs that."
you need
Um,
it to happen because, or else the plot's dumb.
yeah.
And also, I will say this since you guys do live in the wildlands of Canada, do you know what happens to a car if you hit a deer?
The windshield is
Not
Depends.
just a windshield, or if you, God forbid, hit a moose, it
Oh
would
yeah,
damage a front end of a truck with a grill guard.
yeah.
it does. I mean, the front of the car was damaged.
Yeah,
It.
you will. It's probably, let's say, hypothetically, they just find a mystical unicorn. And of course, like whatever the universe says, unicorns do have healing properties. That's kind of just the premise. I think they went with the film. But the horror aspect is the twist.
Hmm,
And it's
I do think
these.
so. Like a moving vehicle, if it was to hit something that doesn't move, like a tree, that would make a bigger damage. Since the unicorn is like a smoosh thing that can be propulsed, it would lessen the blow to the car.
Probably.
So, but it is like I could see. Let's say they were very lucky that they didn't have more damage to the car and they could still roll around.
I actually don't really mind that much about the damage of the car, but that's an interesting aspect. So that was my only issue. All convenient, everything felt. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say, but I still have a few good things to praise about that movie. I feel like the father growth was realizing it was selfish, hiding behind the lie of doing everything for his daughter. He also realized he was sacrificing his daughter to have a better career and more money, and that was kind of cool. And he also decided to quit the abusive boss at some point because at the very end, in the last 20 issues, he is like, I quit or I'm out of that. And that was really cool growth because for most of the movie, he accepted BS. He was like, Okay, I accept that. Yeah, I will do it. And he didn't really agree, didn't want to do it, but he did it because he wanted to look good. And a lot of employees are like that. Nice team of all people are reduced to object by the rich. So again, some of what I add in my notes are things you did say, Cinamon Pumpkin. Uh, Now I gotta say, the humor was great. The acting and the characters were likable. It was very fun. The action was entertaining, and they took risk at the gore, considering the movie was PG-13. Uh, when you really look into it, that's surprising. Usually, PG-13 are not that violent. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed that movie. Another really good A24 movie. And it's surprising because my first few experience with A24 were not that great, but the last 2 years, last year and this year so far, A24 are doing good things in my books, at least. And yeah, I don't have a lot more to say. That's a bit unfortunate. So I will ask the panel, what would be your grade out of 10? Cinnamon Pumpkin.
Uh, I thought of something to add. Is that still the time or?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
So about the car thing, I did. So as you know, I'm a multi-topic. I was brought up in a place that's very close to a national park
Yeah,
and things like that. And we do have, when tourist seasons come, we have a big increase of animal dying on the street because
yeah,
people from the city have this idea that like if you're in the city and somebody walks on the road, it's that person's fault because they did not, and they're not being safe and stuff in but in nature, the animal's not gonna look both ways. It's not gonna
yeah,
like look at the cross. It's not gonna walk to cross path. So you have to be the responsible one and watch out for it. But tourists, they don't know that, so they ran to everything and they go way too fast because there's no police. So I do think, I don't know if it was intentional, but it is a thing that really annoys me with that because it's like, and they say, oh no, but what was this bird doing on the streets? Like, no, 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 what was the street doing in the forest? Like, that's not how it works. So,
and
yeah.
they're not wired to think about cars because cars were not a thing 100 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, we're the ones with a big murder machine going at 100 miles per hour. Maybe we should rethink our thing. I don't know. So that's a thing.
I'm
But
with you on that.
so yeah, no, I'd say it was a very good time. I'd say a 9. Yeah, good experience.
What about you, D-Lord? D-Lord, are you still with us, or
Yes, I
are you
am.
passed out?
No, I'm here. No, the problem is it's not that random hitting wildlife finds the way. It's the issue of, look, hypothetically, if we were ever to find like a Bigfoot or something, it'd be likely from a hunter either killing it or the shooting it, you find the blood or you find the thing. Because I said, it's that weird cryptozoology film where you need a reason for it to exist. And the idea is it's just this weird horror film. That's why I brought up Blood and Honey. And just wait till you get the Bambi version, and
Oh
then
my.
we can have fun. The idea is, yeah, it is kind of that film of, it's not a bad film, but it's just that odd film. But I give it like I do give it like a 6 out of 10. But bear in mind, it's not my kind of a film, and I just find it is convenient for stuff to happen.
Okay, well, I will give this movie a 9.8. That's near perfection. Outside of that very convenient plot point where, oh, they just happen to bump into that unicorn for the plot to happen. Outside of that, that movie, I had a blast. It was so fun. Um, I liked it, and I was waiting for that movie for quite some time since the first time I did happen to see the trailer a few months ago, because that movie was promoted quite some time ago. A lot more than other movies, such as Opus, which we will talk about in a few minutes. Do you have any closing thoughts, Pumpkin? Or I should ask you, uh, did you have you seen Rewind? Have you seen Opus or not yet?
I have not, and I must go now. But this was very fun, and thank you very much for having me.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
Yeah.
to
you
meet
for
you.
coming. What do you have going on your end of the internet?
Each a lot and nothing. Preparing a video on a video game that nobody played. It's gonna be great.
Which game is
That
that, of
sounds fun.
curiosity?
Pedestal.
What is it?
Pedestal. It's so. Do you know the game The Crooked Man?
Uh,
See, so
wait,
that's the
is it
game.
like an indie game? Probably an
Very
indie
indie.
horror. It's an
Very
indie
indie
horror
horror.
game. That's
Yep.
why. Yeah,
Yep.
see, I'm not an indie horror kind of gamer. I am a.
That's very cool. I'm a very indie horror kind of girl. So, yeah, well, nobody's talking about it, so I want to talk about it. It's cool.
No, it's fun.
That's
I
good.
mean, it's a interesting game. I mean, I've heard the game, the hang that one, but like,
Yeah, Crooked
I
Man.
kind of avoid. Okay, I have a rule. I like to avoid slot games or weird indie third party games
Mm,
because of I'm like near my 40 years old nearly, and that I've seen a lot of games, but like, yeah, if it's like too cheesy, I just avoid it. So.
the thing that I like of that game creator is that they take a very cheesy approach, but then they twist it a bit. So,
Mhm.
like the Crooked Man, it's about this guy who is haunted by a guy who has like a crooked neck, and it's super scary. But it's also about how it relates to his life, and I don't know. They're very good at the characters. So it starts cheesy, and you're like, oh, that's what it's gonna be, and then it's not. So that's what I like about it.
And what's the other one called? Like you said, like terror. See, the Crooked Man's on Steam. Actually,
Yep.
what's the game we're reviewing?
No, that's their most popular. That was like 10 years ago, and now they made their newest one, but nobody cares about it, which I think is sad. So I'm gonna care about it.
Okay, well, just give me the link of wherever we can find that content. I will link
Yeah.
it in the description below. So just
I
send it to
mean, what's
me.
funny is I will
And
say there is a guilty pleasure for people who like. I should say this before. There is a guilty pleasure of people who like cheap indie games to play them.
Yeah,
That are like that's actually half streamer bait half the time.
that's
that's
true.
good. So thank you a lot,
Yeah.
Pumpkin, and see you next time for more talk about movies or video games eventually. Have a good
Yeah.
one.
You too. Bye.
Mhm.
So I guess now this is the moment where we start talking about Opus. What did you think of Opus?
Look, I went in with it with the floor, the idea of the floor, and I said, the game, it's like a game that, or just something I'm not expecting because A24. See, what wound up happening this morning is I watched Opus, then I had to cleanse my palate with Born Again.
Oh, but that's good Opus. That was
I was
good.
like, God, I had to.
For those who have seen the movie Blink Twice last year, um, this
I
is
wouldn't
very
just.
similar.
I wouldn't describe. Okay, how I describe it is multi. It's the village. I was like, there's the village portion of it. There's also this weird someone was trying to take a dig at the cult of Scientology mixed with something like another film. Like I'm like, okay, I'm like, how are you gonna execute this plot? All right, that's you have to do. So you have to do it. Like, it's a floor, but surprisingly turns out decent because there's the mystery, but it's a film. It would come to be like it's something I haven't seen in a while. That it strikes me like a mixture, but like maybe served as an inspiration for the writer. So it starts off with the person who a flamboyant man offers a writer or a musician whatever to come back, and it's like what I saw. It's like John Malkovich. That's the actual part. I don't know if it wasn't for John Malkovich. I'm not sure if the role would land. Where surprising compared to the prior version, I could easily see. Then it goes with the idea of the cult. There's the compound, right?
Yeah.
Where it goes through the cycle of the cult. Something happens. They start randomly murdering people. The one person gets chosen. It kind of gave me that the cabin in the woods feel, except without the Cthulhu being released in the end because the sacrifices fail. I recommend that movie to you, Melty, if you've never seen it.
I didn't see it, no.
I'm like, okay, but there's all the reasons for it, and then the cult. It goes around the idea of the cult spreading, but like, I'm not sure why. Like, you pick up some hints why he wants to murder the people, and then there's like this weird Scientology cult, and I'm like, okay, I'm in, digging it. Then there's that creepy moment where there's parts of it where it falls off, where it's just happening. Like the beanbag scene where she was inside the
Yeah,
bin.
spoiler. So that's the warning. Go in now. Spoiler.
All right. So people start getting murdered for no reason. The first one is Bill. Gets a massage and somehow they just cut his back open. Okay. Nothing happens. You don't really know anything, right? He just take the body and shove it somewhere. I'm like, okay, so why doesn't Bill want to be there? Then Elizabeth suddenly, like, after a very like good performance, starts choking on something, and then okay, person disappears. You're like, all right, so this is just gonna be that moment where they. I'm like, so they were brought here because of hit pieces. I bet there's a reason. And then they're going to be slowly killed, except for the one in the beginning that got away.
Yeah,
because it's like Scientology, because they call them the learned or the learned, something like that, like the ones with the diamond necklaces, like that's kind of like, and then you go, oh, but the story with the pearls, like it does explain it. But then, like, Malkovich pulls it off well. Like, the Billie Holiday story, you're going through that. Ultimately, when the secret's found out, I guess. Like, I don't know why, if they wanted to keep it secret, why did they put the person in the beanbag? Then they wind up murdering the rest of them.
Yeah.
But there's a part, too, I never understood. Why would you randomly have the guy getting shot through the shoulder if you didn't want him murdered? You know the scene
Make
I'm
him
talking about.
suffer.
Make him suffer, I guess, because clearly it's supposed to be a metaphor of a Manson-style Scientologist then you kill off the basic members, I guess,
Yeah.
and then the ones disappear. Because the film itself is actually entertaining in the realm of, but there's also gross out humor, and I'm like, gross out events. I'm like, so each has a member. It just happens that the Indian girl happens to get the person who belongs in a Marvel film. I know you know what I'm talking about too.
I can't.
Pop. Okay, so there's a point where each are given like this guard, right? This person to watch over them. There's like this one's this one weird that looks like a mix between Echo and Wednesday Adams.
Oh wow.
That's how I describe her. And she's like popping bubble gum outside her door. And
Oh
like
yeah, that's Amber Midhunter you're talking about. I get it
yes,
now.
the
Yeah.
weird, like she's like this MCU assassin from like a thing where she's doing stuff. Then
She's
there's
cool in every role she has. She's
yes,
the best one.
yeah, she is the best one in this one.
She
But
was in
it's
Novel Kaina as well. That was the action flick that came out last month.
okay. But it's that thing of why there's a mystery. Like it's like, oh, did they shave your bush as well? Yeah. Okay. I'm like, all right, what is this?
You also missed kind of the point of that, but I will explain it in my review. But I think you missed the
Okay,
point.
there's a reason. I will watch it. I just want to understand. I want to know the reason of that.
I will explain it on my review.
You'll have to because I kind of like, I get it, but like the concept of it is like the, but there's parts of it I understood. Like I could get the deeper plot why it's happening, and then, but I'm like, clearly the ones like they want her to get away.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, all right, because we've already seen because it goes to the beginning of the film, then it cuts to the end, which goes back to it at the end,
Yeah.
where it's an interesting film in the terms of a thriller like thing, but I'm guessing the cult commits suicide and the head people spread their cult through the world.
Yeah.
But then it has that twist at the end, which has the good little thriller end, which is why I'm not totally mad at you. Yes, I had you watch Megaopolis, but this is totally, I think sometimes I feel Megaopolis, at least as disjointed of a film, does deserve praise more. But you have to, but this has that weird plot. It's enough to follow. Like it's a quirky cult style leader that has it and it spreads an ideology. It hints that the ideology or the cult is older.
Yeah.
So, and then the cult, I don't know, the big twist is the books she spread because of the book.
Yeah.
And then apparently the leaders are just spread through the world. Like, okay. All right. I give it a good review. It's like an 8 out of 10. It is a surprising for an A24 film. I was impressed.
They did really good movies. A Different Man from last year, I mentioned it in the past, but like that movie did criticize a lot of very good thing, and they also said like, look, some people can be ugly and still have success because this is what's inside that matters.
There's actually subtle digs at like if I want to hear like a cult like meeting, it's like Congress. There's political jokes in it too.
Yeah.
There's weird off humor. You'll miss blinking, you'll miss it sometimes, but it's also like with like other media stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I
Do you want to
it's
add anything else?
no, like it's a good film. I recommend seeing it compared to the other one. But
I like both.
A24 does weird films.
And
They
that's
are
why they're good.
they're I don't know. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad.
So I guess now that's my shot at the review. I unfortunately have less to say with this than Death of a Unicorn. However, I do think it's a better movie. It was a very fun movie that I enjoyed a lot. Um, here are a few things to say. One of the themes of that movie could be popular people can be dangerous. They also can be great at word salad. They talk BS, but people listen because they're popular. Um, my second idea I had about that movie, or I should say, the second theme I could see, the second thing I could read in between the lines, and that kind of answers what you were asking for earlier. In many instances, everyone privacy was invaded with camera, invading personal space, cutting air from private parts. Um, they made it clear that cult doesn't give a crap about boundaries, about privacy, about intimacy. They want to break every aspect they can by placing cameras, by making you shave parts of your body. And that was kind of interesting and troubling because I'm like, a lot of cult could indeed do that. So it's not far stretched. It makes sense.
Okay, I'm gonna ask, what was the purpose in the ritual of shaving the garden?
Well,
You're gonna
that's
have to, because that's one thing I know they don't explain it. I want to see
that's
your
that's because the cult leader want to with the tongue like that. It's very visual. He wants to play down here, and he doesn't want ears.
Okay, yeah, I got that part. Well, it's trimmed. Okay, the other part about this is too, there's the weird part where he's telling stories. Like, he clearly enthralled the cult. Like, I would have loved to seen a little bit more about the learned. Like, one was a music teacher, but there's also that one where there's an illusion.
Yeah,
But like the payoff, though, you're gonna have to let me. The reason why I don't say the little twist is that is just there's parts where if you're good at understanding the messages between, you can spot it.
yeah. So, again, invasion of privacy is something that was very important for that movie. The next thing I had to say would be the lead went from a nobody to someone that got popular through her story. Another thing, the group went from thinking the main character was crazy to actually think she's right. The group started to idolize and adore the singer for then being afraid by him. I thought the music was amazing and well chosen, and that each musical number made sense. And the last thing I gotta say, I feel like I'm actually sure I may have missed a few things about that movie. I think it deserves a second watch. Uh, I like that movie. That's just a really cool A24 movie. We need more movies like that with a lot of commentary on people. And she got popular because of her story. And these cult, they don't care about boundaries and that kind of stuff. These are very fun things to mention. Um, do you have anything else to add on Opus?
Well, the payoff is like at the end. They use the a lot of it is like they want to tell the story, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's a guy wanting revenge, and they're like, oh, whatever. You get subtle drip hints about the. You get subtle drip of hint the why. Like they go, oh, didn't Bill Lotto also do the hit piece, whatever else, right?
Yeah,
Like you can kind of gather why, like certain, but it's also the weird part. I'm like, so what's the payoff? Because it starts with the flash forward, and the reason I leave stuff vague is like, yeah, some stuff is very evident, and then the horror at the end is like, goes, well, so where were the learned corpses? They didn't kill themselves. But you also lean back where I don't know if I would have loved to see better in the writing where they were like, we are going to either the black woman took pity, right?
yeah,
And let her go, or it was all part of a ploy.
yeah,
Because I'm like, okay, it's very much the thing of okay, so secret societies do secret societies, cult do cult things. And it's a good film, surprisingly a sleeper hit for what it should
yeah.
be. But it's good. I recommend it. I would say I
I also
com-
recommend it. And
compared to Death of a Unicorn.
I got to see one last thing. I was thinking back. Um, it's funny how it's hinted at the boss of the main character actually being someone that does nothing, and he wanted her to do all the work for him, and that was funny.
Do you
Uh,
mean the idea of he worked through the ranks? Because the idea, I will say, they do hint that the idea is older because if I think it's very loosely based on the cult. I don't know how much you
no,
know about the cult.
I don't know much, but what I was saying is the boss, like the guy with glasses. It was heavily hinted that he wanted to make the main character work for him, and like he would do her article at her place. What I mean by there is he wanted for
Uh,
her to do all of the work for him while
Instilled
she
over.
thought, yeah, while she thought she would do her own article, if you know what I mean. Like her idea was, I will be making my own article, and he was kind of forcing himself into, you will do my article for me. That was basically what was going on with the
To be
boss.
honest, that's the typical, like, under. Yeah, the evil boss is going to take your work
Yeah,
because she is technically an apprentice.
yeah,
It's not like the she's it's not like she is there, like the key twist in why she is chosen, I guess, by the people is for her, I guess, innocence and naivete, but being smart and observant.
yeah,
Now once that payoff occurs, right, I would assume that it's just different, right? It's
yeah,
like because okay, since we are in there, she was chosen because she was a pure vessel,
yeah,
and Malkovich's character also took pity, but at the same time knew he knew she wouldn't just do whatever.
yeah,
Anyway, but yeah, that's all. There's a reason, and then at the end, the cult just spreads.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, new day, a new thing. Like, I'm like, all right.
And I will say this movie for me is a solid 10 out of 10. I have no issues with it. I'd even say I've seen 40 movies that came out in 2025, and as of right now, this movie is in third place. Sorry about that. Yeah, third place. So first place would be Companion, second place would be Earth Eyes, and Opus comes in third place for me. Amazing movie. Highly recommend. What would be your grade out of 10 for Opus?
I give it like an 8 out of 10. It's not bad. It's surprisingly good for a weird the film.
Yeah, thank you a lot for sharing. I guess we are out, and in a moment, in a few minutes, we will be reacting to the Nintendo Direct, the first part, because this is an hour, and I don't want to spend like 4 hours today on the Direct. So we will be
So,
doing the first part of the Direct in a few moments, and we are out. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, D Lord, and thank you, Pumpkin. We